Oh, hello, Mum. Yeah, no, I have. Yeah, I know you like the old one. No, it's been more than 5 minutes. It's been about 7 months. I don't know whether I should have done. Well, you'll have to watch the film and find out. Yeah. Ooh, just been joined by the dog. Okay, yeah, gotta go. Bye. Well, hello and welcome to another edition of A Wolfie's Wheels. Well, where are we today? Well, we're sat today in a newly acquired Tesla. Yes, I've changed my cars yet again, as you saw in the pre-thing introduction. And we've now got ourselves a Tesla Model S P100D. So what does that actually mean? P100D. Well, everyone I think is already familiar enough with the Tesla model lineup, and the S is sort of the big saloon. The P100D part is sort of more interesting, I suppose, for want of a better expression. Now, the P100D, all three components, mean sort of something slightly addition, as it were, to each other. So let's start with the 100 to start with, and the 100 is the size of the battery, the main traction battery, in kilowatt hours. So this car has a 100 kilowatt hour battery on it, and that gives it, they say, a range of about 315 miles. Other things you look at, EV database, which is a good thing if you want to look stuff up, gives it a range of somewhere between 215 miles if you're really hoofing it in the winter, and 415 miles if you're just driving around in nice mild weather very gently. So realistically, I think the range on this car is going to be probably 270 to 300 miles. And for my purposes, that's more than enough. So that's the 100 part of the battery. So it's a 100 kilowatt battery with a range of, give or take, 270 to 300 miles. The D, what does the D mean? Well, I may be forgiven looking at it thinking D, well, I didn't know Teslas made diesel cars. Well, they don't. D simply means dual motor. So there's two motors on this car. One drives the front axles and one drives the back axles. So there's two separate motors. It's as simple as that, really, D for dual motors. So if you see a car like, for example, an S75, which is it's a Model S with a 75 kilowatt battery. If it doesn't have a D after it, it's a single motor on the back. And if it has a D after it, it's a dual motor driving front and rear. So that brings us on to the P. Well, what does the P mean? Well, P is for performance. And performance is really where this car comes into its own. So I'm just looking at an odd reflection in the roof, just about there. I'll try and edit that away if I can. Anyway, yeah, so the combination of the 100 kilowatt battery, the performance and everything else gives this car an unbelievable 0 to 60 miles an hour time of 2.2 seconds. I'll just hold it there. That gap was longer than 2.2 seconds. I'll put a little timer on, overlaying on this so you can see how long 2.2 seconds is. That's quick. However you cut it, that's quick. It goes on to 100 miles an hour in 4.3 seconds, which is faster than many performance cars will actually reach 60 miles an hour. I mean, it's phenomenally quick, ridiculously quick, enough to make you sick when you drive it. But my God, does it make you smile. Anyway, there's plenty of videos about this on the internet, people hooning from 0 to 60, 0 to 100, racing Ferraris, Lamborghinis, and just about any other performance car you care to name. But of course, you've got to bear in mind that this is, after all, a 2.3 tonne 5-seater saloon car, capable of taking people sort of transcontinental or long journeys in extreme comfort and still playing those sort of funny games. Now, obviously, it's not going to keep up on the twisties. It's a heavy car. It is what it is. But, you know, it's a lot of fun. brake horsepower that this car has when it's in the right mode, because there are 4 modes on this car, which we'll come to in a second, is 761 brake horsepower and 713 foot-pounds of torque. So it's an awful lot of brake horsepower and an awful lot of torque. And of course, the torque, being an electric car, is there the instant you touch the throttle pedal. Gas pedal, don't know what you call it. I'll call it a throttle. But as soon as you touch it, it's there. It's always in the right gear at the right time, just to do its thing. So, as I say, 761 brake horsepower, 713 foot-pounds of torque, 0 to 60 in 2.3 seconds, and 0 to 100 in 4.3. Probably not a lot more to say about that. So let's talk about this actual car that we're sat in now. It's called Wolfric, and it is, as I say, it's a 2018 P100D. It's December 2018, and I acquired it just under 5 years old in September of this year, 2023. And it's got, well, now it's got 24,496 miles on it, and that's on the what's the date? 6th of November 2023. That's about 1,000 miles more than it had when I picked it up. I actually ended up buying the car from a company called RSEV, and I'll put a link in the description below. It's R. Simmons Electric Vehicles, and they are, in my opinion, the #1 pre-owned Tesla dealers in the UK. They're based in Bournemouth, so it's a 270-mile trip back home after I bought the car, but that was good. It gave me an opportunity to get to know the car and its quirks, and how good it actually is on the long run, and so on and so forth. But yeah, I mean, RSEV, they've got their own YouTube channel. They're very, very knowledgeable about Teslas, and in fact, electric cars in general. But if you fancy a look at their channel, do go over and have a look. As I say, I'll put the link to their business and their channel in the description below. I'll try and get it on the screen about here, but I'm making no guarantees because my editing skills are not always that good. Now, this car that I bought from RSEV, when it was new, had an incredibly high price tag, and believe me, I paid nowhere near the price tag of the new car when I bought it at nearly 5 years old. The car, list price of the car, and bearing in mind it's a Tesla, so discounting through dealerships is basically zero, cost £130,750. And then the guy who had it before me then put a further £17,000 worth of extras on it. So it's a very well spec car, and I'm going to put here, and I'll pause while it does it, a little picture of all of the extras that it has over and above the standard car that you might buy. So it's a very well spec car, and as I say, the guy who, or just put it this way, he lost well over £100,000 in depreciation in the first 4.5 to 5 years of ownership. That's painful, but you know, somebody else picks up the pieces and benefits, I guess. So why did I actually pick this particular car when I travelled all the way down to RSEV to have a look? Well, I actually made an appointment to see Richard at RSEV, knowing that he actually had no stock at the time of Tesla Model S's, certainly within my price range. But on the morning we turned up, this particular car that we're sat in now and subsequently bought had just arrived as a commission sale, because not only does he sell cars, if you've got a car you want to sell, he'll sell them on and take a commission, sort of a car brokerage basically. But anyway, this car had arrived and it had no preparation whatsoever. And the condition of it was, well, I like to look after my cars, and it looked like I'd owned it. I mean, there was no funny business. All the wheels were completely immaculate, no obvious defects on the paint. It didn't smell. The interior was spotlessly clean. So overall, realistically, I just looked at it and thought, well, if I'm going to buy a car, that's probably a good car to buy. The downside was, of course, that it was a lot more than my intended budget by some 50%. But anyway, we took it out for a drive, on the basis, well, we'd never actually driven a Model S, and I thought I wanted one but didn't really know. So we went out for a drive in it, and we came back, and Anne and I sort of looked at each other and kind of thought, well, yes, it's more than we wanted to pay, but actually it's a better car than the one that we might have otherwise bought, because it's newer and therefore there's a bit more warranty left. It's a 100 battery, so it's got a better range. We were originally thinking of getting a P75, which is a 75 kilowatt hour battery, so about 3/4 of this range, and probably about a year, 18 months older than this car as well. So in the end, I just decided that the extra money, I could look at it in the bank and probably get not a lot of pleasure out of it, or I could invest it, and I use invest in a very, very loose sort of way, invest it in something I'm going to enjoy a bit more. And before I knew it, the deal was done, and we were on our way home a couple of weeks later. We had to wait to get the car because I was on holiday, so for all the right reasons. So we got the car home, and it was a 276 mile journey back up from Bournemouth to home, and the car wasn't on a full charge. It had 95% when I left Bournemouth. The weather was appalling, and if you know anything about electric cars, you'll know that rain does actually have a fairly significant adverse effect on the range. But nevertheless, we drove home, and the car suggested I stopped at Rugby Services for 11 minutes, and then I'd be able to get home with range left in the tank. So an 11-minute stop on a 270-mile trip, I thought was pretty reasonable. In fact, I had to stop 3 times, I think, because of how long it took to get back up because of the weather, and being a man of a certain age, the bladder's not what it used to be. And there you go. You know, people say about electric vehicles that take ages to charge on a run, blah blah blah. No, actually, I stopped more often than the car did, and every time I stopped, there were chargers available, and I could have charged the car. I didn't. I only charged it once at Rugby. I charged it for more than 11 minutes, I'll admit, because I wanted a cup of coffee as well as a wee. So, you know, it's I basically used the time wisely, as it were. But that journey back gave me some initial impressions of the car, and I was very, very happy with it. It drives really well. It's quiet. But you know, I'm going to do another film later on about driving the car and what it's like, and so on and so forth. But initial impressions in that first 1,000 miles I've done are very favourable indeed. But when we got it home, I mean, as I said, we looked at the car and it was in pretty good shape. But as ever, I got KAVD, Carl Allen Balloting and Detailing, to come and have a look at the car, give it a refinish, a ceramic coating, and basically asked him to look at it in some detail, which of course I hadn't done, because, you know, in the excitement of buying, you don't bother. You think, oh wow, that looks great, I better have that before the next man does. Anyway, we didn't find any problems. Carl didn't find any problems. The car had obviously been well looked after before. It had had a professional, semi-professional polish before, because as you can see in the pictures, there were some sort of buffer trials. I'm hoping they come out. They're much more visible in real life, but I don't know if you can really see them on the film. But at the end of the day, the thing was immaculately shiny, and you know, it was in. I was amazed. You know, it doesn't look like a nearly 5-year-old car. So, kind of in summary, have I done a good thing or not? I mean, you know, I've bought myself an 5-year-old Tesla. The warranty on the battery is 8 years old, so the battery and drivetrain warranty will go to December 2026. So that's all right. But, you know, I mean, if I read the Daily Mail and the Sun and the rest of it, it's going to catch fire any minute. It's going to ruin all the roads because of its extra weight. It's not. And just about everything that can possibly be laid at the root of all evil, well, that's me. I am now evil incarnate because I have got an electric car. How very dare I? But was it a very good move? I don't know. I mean, you know, the balk factor on a £140,000 luxury car is enormous. I mean, it's got air suspension that could go wrong. There's all sorts of things that could go wrong with it. And should I have bought it or not? I really don't know. I mean, I'm really loving it. It's a great car, but you're gonna have to watch the channel to see how things unfold over the next sort of couple of years, or however long I decide to keep it. You know, there's only one way to find out whether it's a good thing or not, and that's to do it. Jump in with both feet and learn from the experience. So that's it. That's Wolfric, the Tesla Model S P100D. I hope you enjoyed the video. It's only a very quick introduction. Please feel free to share. Please feel free to subscribe. I mean, the subscribers, I really do thank every one of you. We're now up to 662 subscribers as at the time of recording, which is the 6th of November 2023. And there you go. So, as I say, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Please do hit the bell icon to be notified of any new videos that come out. And we'll do some more recording, probably some travelling and what have you in Wolfric at some future point. I'll see you in a future episode of Our Wolfie's Wheels. Bye.